Welcome everyone this morning. My name is Amber Ham. I am the transition age parent educator with Kentucky SPIN. Today is our first day for the Preparing for Employment virtual mini conference. Just to tell a little bit about myself, I am Amber Ham, the transition age parent educator, a mother and an advocate. I have 5+ years professional experience, 14 years of personal experience in self-advocating and advocating for my children. I am in the Northern Kentucky area. And a few silly facts about myself: I love dogs, carbs, and helping others. Kentucky SPIN, Kentucky Special Parent Involvement Network, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The mission of Kentucky SPIN is to link families and individuals with disabilities to valuable resources that will enable them to live productive, fulfilling lives. Kentucky SPIN is a statewide parent training and information project and is funded by the U.S. Department of Education. Kentucky SPIN Parent Center provides training, information, and support for children and youth with all types of disabilities, birth through age 26 years old, their parents, families, and also professionals. What makes Kentucky SPIN unique is the majority of our board of directors and all of our staff and consultants are persons with disabilities, parents, or family members of persons with disabilities. When family members call Kentucky SPIN, they not only receive expertise and knowledge of a professional, but also the compassion and empathy of someone who has walked and continues to walk in their shoes. At Kentucky SPIN, we don't represent families and we don't give legal advice. Kentucky SPIN has been the statewide parent training and information center since 1988, and the value of families getting support by networking with other families is built into everything we do. We often get calls from parents or other family members who just need to talk, and we are here to listen. Regardless of the question, our staff will go the extra mile to find the answer. Our philosophy at Kentucky SPIN is that it is not our role to tell families what to do. It is our role, however, to inform families of what their options are and encourage them to make their own decisions about what is right for their family. Just some general housekeeping before we get started. In this virtual land that we are all in, technology can become an issue sometimes. Most of us at Kentucky SPIN have little fur babies at home, and they like to be a part of our trainings as much as we do. So please give us grace if you hear some dogs barking in the background, or if we may have a technical issue with computer or internet. If you have questions, please type them in the chat box and we will respond to them as soon as we can. We do have some stopping points throughout the training this morning where we will answer questions and hear from the audience members. Please feel free to share from your own experience and not from someone else's. And following the training today, you will receive an email with resources containing the slideshow that we used today, as well as other resources that go along with this training. Session 1, preparing for the interview. And we are going to show a short video.
There's no sound. Hold on just a second. So just as Amber had said, okay, if you don't mind, there we go. Great, thank you.
Hey you. Top 5 things coming from session 1 about the interview. Let's go. Time to take a look at his Facebook account. I literally have a ton of research I'm doing right now. Like, this is like pages and pages of research. I'm ready for my interview. This is the information we have on the new candidate in and there. Okay, I'll get right on it. Hey guys, it's Ian with Kentucky Spin. I hope that video was funny and you got some entertainment out of it. But there are some serious things that come with some of the things you're getting ready to learn in this session. And I just want to go over them and emphasize them really quickly. So 1, we did the joke about the social media check-in. But in all seriousness, companies do check your social media, so make sure you keep it looking professional and sleek. You don't want anything on there that could prevent you from being hired or considered for a position. Number 2, researching the company is really important. So you want to make sure that you do at least minimum research to get like little factoids, so that gives you a leg up on competition. Number 3, it is important to keep your resume current and keep updating that as much as you need to make sure that you're representing yourself the best way that you can in your interview. Number 4 is dress for success. Dress for the job that you want, not the job that you're maybe even necessarily applying for, or the job that you have. So make sure to give your best presentation of yourself and do the best you can to pull that off for your interview. Number 5, it's really important to think about what employers are looking for when it comes to employees, which would be you, considering you get hired. So think about things like being on time and just the little things to give you a leg up and to really help you to be ready to fulfill the role that they need to fill in their company. So lastly, guys, one thing I want to make sure that I say, kind of a disclaimer at the end of the video, before the end, I want to say that the clips in the beginning that were funny were just to be entertaining, and that's it. That's actually not the proper way to go about things, if that makes sense. So I want to make sure that I say that before this video ends, because I don't want anyone to watch this and think that that's the correct way to go about trying to get a job and things like that. Okay, guys, it's Ian with Kentucky Spin. I hope these tips have been helpful. I hope you enjoy your session. Until next time, see ya.
So now I would like to hand things over to our youth educator, Nick Carpenter.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. I am Nick Carpenter, the youth educator with Kentucky Spin. Before I get started with my part of the presentation, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So as I said, I am the youth educator for Kentucky Spin. Basically what that job description is that I am a specialist on training young adults around the age of 16 to the age of 26. I educate them on how to prepare them for moving from the high school life and then transitioning to either working after school or going to college, or basically trying to prepare them for going out into the real world. A little bit about myself. I am 24 years old. I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 4. I've been a self-advocate for myself my entire life, and for the last 13 years, I have been a open advocate for others, trying to help anywhere that I can. I've worked with a lot of children over the years. I'm a licensed paraeducator. I've worked in a lot of special education classrooms. So I've helped work with a lot of younger children, and I enjoy playing board games and RPGs, and that's kind of like playing games in general. I have a dog that I love spending time with, and yeah, and kind of just a little bit more personal. It's kind of my personal goal here with Kentucky Spin, because I know when I was younger and I was going through school, I feel like that I wasn't fully prepared for when I left school and went into the real world. There was a lot of stuff I didn't know about a lot of things that I wish I had known beforehand. So my hope today is that at the end of this presentation, that there'll be something that you can take from this and apply to real life to help prepare you. Hey, next slide, please. All right. Employers, check your social media. So as we all know, social media has worked its way into about every part of our life, and it's forever changed the way we communicate. Whether we like it or not, it's here. It's not going anywhere. It's just part of how things are now. It's really easy, it's really easy nowadays to get up on Facebook or Twitter or wherever, and you can just go and find someone that you maybe haven't talked to in 10 or 15 years. You can go find them and send them messages and interact with them as if, nothing had ever happened. It's way too easy to meet with old friends, send messages to celebrities, and even just share ideas, photos, memes, and videos to anyone, anywhere, anytime. But along with this, with social media being such a big thing that it is now, it is a very common way for employers to recruit new hires. You should be aware that about 9 out of 10 employers will scope out your social media accounts prior to your job interview. It's very possible that one small post that you make can completely scar your reputation and even cost you a job with a potential employer. And this is even just like, because they will, like, when you apply for a job, that is usually one of the first places they will look. But they will find you up on social media, and they will go and they will dig through your posts, and they will go back not even weeks, they might go back months, even years, just to see, like, depending on the company, just to see what kind of reputation you have and if you've ever had any kind of slip ups in the past. And it really does matter, and it is something that they do look out for. And along with that, another important thing to keep in mind is that you yourself may have the perfect social media profile, but you need to keep in mind that if you have a lot of friends on your profile, what kind of stuff are they posting and tagging you in and tagging your relation with? What kind of posts are you interacting with? Because all it takes is just one out there friend to tag you in some kind of offensive post to completely rip apart your credibility. If a potential employer sees a questionable photo in which you're tagged, he won't care if it's your photo or your friend's photo. Photo will raise eyebrows and can cause someone to question your professionalism. So just be aware that recruiters and potential employers, they will look at your profile, and they will go back, like I said, even years, just to see what you have. You and your friends might forget about some wild trip that you had a few years ago, or some joke that you made maybe even a decade ago, but the internet doesn't forget, and it can be unforgiving sometimes. So just keep that in mind. Next slide, please. So things to avoid on your social media accounts. Things like drug and alcohol references. Be careful, like, talking about those kind of things. If you're ever posting any pictures, be careful about something like that being hidden somewhere in the background. Try to limit or even just completely exclude any kind of profanity you might have on your posts, whether it be you saying it yourself or sharing a meme or a picture that might have profanity in it. Because if employers looking for that kind of thing, they won't care if it's you directly who said it or if it's the post itself that contains it. They're just gonna put 2 and 2 together. Beware of any inappropriate photos, such as revealing selfies or other photo/memes with inappropriate content. And always, if you post like any big photos or posts or anything like that, always check the background. Make sure that there's not anything going on in the back that might make you look unclean or just inappropriate in general. Next slide. The good news is that along with being careful about having a inappropriate social media page, it's just as easy to build a positive personal brand that can make you an appealing job candidate. An employer is more likely to interview a candidate that has a fun and interesting profile than someone who has maximum privacy filters turned on and doesn't allow employers to get to know them. So you can get a leg up before the interview and use your Facebook profile to showcase your personal experiences and what you are like outside of work. Next post. Things to embrace on social media. Post appropriate pictures of things like your last trip, your soccer or basketball team, or any kind of sports that you're involved with. If you do any community work or volunteering, post about those, post pictures of those, or talk about those. And if you have any interesting skills like cooking, or if you like going hiking or camping, anything like that, employers like to see that kind of stuff. Next slide. All right, research the company, learn about the job. Show that you've done your homework and looked at the company ahead of time. Researching employers is one of the best ways to become a standout candidate during the hiring process. By putting on your detective hat and investigating potential employers, you'll discover details about the employer that will better prepare you for any interview. And now you might be wondering, okay, well, what do I research? If I do prepare ahead of time and I look into the company, what type of things should I look for? Well, there are several things you should keep in mind that I'm going to go over in these next few slides. Next slide, please. Number one, first and foremost, you should know what the company is looking for in a qualified candidate. This enables you to position yourself as the best candidate for the position. To discover the skills and experience the employer is looking for, read between the lines of their job postings. You can also find out information on the employer's career page to get an idea of the type of employees they desire. In addition, reach out to current employees who work there and ask them about what their employer values most in the workplace. Just talking from personal experience, I will say that it's always a great idea if you ever go into somewhere to apply for a job, it's never a bad idea to, when you go up to the register or the front desk or whatever it may be, and if you do get handed a physical job application or you ask them about applying, don't be afraid to ask the person you're talking to tell you a little bit about the job and if they like it or not, because employees are always going to be the first and best source of information about the company and about working there specifically. Next slide, please. Number two, the key player. You want to learn about the key players within an organization. These can be employees who just hold important positions in the company. They can be managers, department directors, and especially the CEO or president of the company. You can find out who the key players of the organization are by reading the employer's about page and employee bios. It's also a good idea to check out what these individuals say on Twitter or other social media to learn what employees say about the company online. So a little bit about this. Most companies and corporations and things like that, almost all of them have some kind of welcome page. If you get up on Google or whatever search engine you want to use and you type in the name of a company you're researching and they almost always have a website. And then on that first page, they have a good homepage that has a bunch of links to different parts of their website. And even sometimes they'll have employee bios. I know KYSPIN, for example, we have a really nice, easy to use website that has a bunch of videos and things on it and links. And you can also find out about every single employee who works there. We each have our own page that talks about us and everything. And most corporations are really good about being open with who they are and what they do and about the people who work for them. Next slide. Number three, When you go into a job interview, it's always a good idea to be knowledgeable about the company's latest news and updates. Most companies have a page on their website dedicated to press releases and events. This is a great source for you to find out information regarding the company's latest news and updates. Another example, going back to Kentucky Spin's webpage, we always, every time we know that there's an event going on, we always post it on our front page. Even our mini conference we're doing this week, we've had that up on our page for a while now. Anytime there's any kind of event that we're planning on attending or event that we're hosting, we always put onto our news page, just because we want, if people come and check us out, we want them to know what we're doing and what we're about. So most corporations do the same, and that's a good way to find out what's just kind of going on with them, is checking out their news page. Next slide, please. Number 4, you want to be able to confidently say that you're a good fit for the company during any job interview. As you research the employer, pay attention to what's written on their website regarding the company's values and mission. You can also learn more about the company by following the organization on its social media networks. Another great way, as I said earlier, to reiterate, is if you want to learn about what a company's culture, mission, and values are, is to talk to the employees. Employees are a great source of information when it comes to learning about a job. They've worked there, they've lived it, they know what, they've seen everything, they know what goes on. An example would be like I said, if you were going in to apply for somewhere, talking to whoever's at the counter. Example is if you're at McDonald's ordering food, you could talk to the cashier while you're waiting on your order if you're able to. And you can ask them things like, like, what's the atmosphere like here? Does this place have a lot of good energy, or is it kind of yucky here? Is it always busy? How does the manager treat the employees? Current employees are always the best source of information. Next slide. Number 5. As a potential employee, you need to have an idea of the type of work you'd be doing once hired. By having a general idea of who the company's clients are and the types of products and services are offered, you'll be more prepared for the interview too. To find out the company's offerings, you can usually find them on the company's website. You can also read through the company's blog, website, and social media pages to give you a better idea of their accomplishments. Again, just can't stress this enough. Current or former employees are an excellent source of information. If possible, when researching a company, if possible, try to find out what the company's target audience is and what do they sell and or offer, or what kind of services do they provide to their target audience. Next slide.
Nick, I think at this point, if you want to check the chat box to see if we have any questions.
If anyone has any questions about anything that's been gone over so far, do feel free to use the chat box. I will take a little bit of time to address any of those that I can.
One, Nick, is a lot of times with the social media, if you think, if you have your privacy settings to the most strict, that people can't see what's going on, because you never know who's friends with who. And does that play a part in people being able to find out more about you, even when you have stricter settings?
Yeah, it can. I know typically, like if you're on like Facebook, for example, I know that you can, with the privacy settings, you can put them to a certain point to where people looking at your page, unless they're friends with you, they can't even look at your friends list or things like that. I do know that typically it's not a good sign if you have a lot of privacy settings turned on, but when employers are trying to hire you potentially. But yeah, I do know typically that's how it is with Facebook sometimes. But but yeah, even if you try to keep your social media pretty clear and just kind of just empty of stuff, they might try to go through your friends' social media and see if you have any interactions with them, and what kind of interactions those are.
Nick, I don't see any more questions in the chat box right now, but we can definitely check back here in a
All right.
few slides.
But yeah, if anyone has any questions at any point, like I said, do feel free to put them in the chat box. We will be stopping every now and then for questions. We would love to answer and clarify anything that we need to. So yeah, just don't be shy. All right, update your resume. If you're ever applying for jobs, if you're looking for a job, you need to have a resume. When you're writing your resume, it's very important to remember that even if you haven't really had any job experience before, let's say you're applying for your first job, and you might have your resume and be wondering like, okay, well, I've never worked anywhere before. Like, what should I put on my resume? It's really important to remember that paid employment is not the only example or way to get work experience and skills. Next slide. Sometimes when you're just getting started in the workforce, it can be hard to find things to fill up on that sheet of paper. Some easy resume fillers that can help show who you are and that you put some effort into creating your resume are some examples like listing any skills that you have. For example, are you organized? Are you clean? Are you proficient with technology? Personality traits that you think would help you in a workplace. Do you have a bubbly personality? Are you outgoing? Do you get along well with others? If you have any academic acknowledgments like honor roll, perfect attendance, beta club, anything like that, or especially any clubs or extracurricular activities you participated in, like cheerleading, soccer, any sports, youth group at church, even any kind of babysitting experience. When I first started looking out for jobs, when I got to that age, something I always put on my resumes was I was in Boy Scouts my entire life. I am an Eagle Scout. It's been my life since I was very young. I always put that on all my job resumes. And the reason is because I knew that in Boy Scouting, they do a lot of leadership skills, and it can train you in just a very diverse skill set. So when I put that on resumes and employers saw that, if they didn't know what that was about, they might look it up and they could see that, hey, like this person has a lot of different skills. It gives them an idea of what kind of experience I've had, and it gives them an idea of who I am as a person and what I can bring to the workplace. So that's just one example, but anything that you think would help show what kind of experience you have can fit on a resume. It doesn't just have to be employment work. It can be anything that's given you any kind of experience. Next slide.
And to build on that just a little bit, Nick, it also is a great starting point for conversation too, because it can be a little awkward when you're meeting with that potential employer for the first time. So if they have experience with things like Eagle Scouts or, basketball or cheerleading, that's a great starting point to get a conversation flowing.
Yeah, you're right, Amber. So next slide. Volunteering. So many people assume, believe it or not, that volunteer experience can't be listed on a resume, or that the volunteering needs to be for a long period of time. The fact is that most employers like to see any kind of volunteer experience, especially if it's during a time that you weren't currently working during. You can use volunteer experiences to build work skills and improve a resume. You can try several different experiences so you can explore different types of jobs. Volunteering is an excellent way to show employers that you're actively seeking skills that will be useful to you on the job. It also proves that you're an active member of your community and are willing to lend your time to people, an organization, or a cause that needs it. As I mentioned in the last slide, I did a lot of Boy Scouting. Boy Scouts do a lot of volunteer work. So I was able to go and kind of just experience a lot of different things. Volunteering, I will say, in my opinion, is a great thing to do in general, even if you're not just doing it for job experience. You get to meet a lot of different people from different walks of life, and you can kind of open your mind a bit to all the different kinds of people in your community that you live with. It can help educate you on different matters, and it also, as I've mentioned, can help you develop a lot of different skills. And you even never know, you might go and volunteer for something and find out that whatever it is you're doing here, that might be your life's calling. Like, you never know. So I always say you should always volunteer if you can. So another personal story about volunteering is when I worked, when I was in Scouts, I went to summer camp, I got a volunteer job as a dishwasher for a few days. And that gave me experience working in a kitchen, and I was able to put that on a resume, and it showed that when I was trying to work at a restaurant, it showed that I had experienced working in stressful environments and in a kitchen. And that was a good indication that, hey, like, I might be a good fit for this job. So you never know. Next slide. Even if you have never worked at an official job before, it still helps to include references on your resume. References don't have to just be previous jobs you've worked at. References can be people who can vouch for you. Examples being like your sports team coach or club leaders. If you go to church, you can have a church member reference you, or a religious figure. And family, friends can be references. And teachers, I'll even say that for the longest time on my references for resumes, I always put teachers, because I felt like, your teachers are probably people you spend the most time with, going to school all the time. So teachers usually, at least in my opinion, my experiences, usually have the best understanding of your work ethic and your character, and are kind of the best, I feel, the best people to vouch for you when job seeking. Next slide. Contact information. Don't forget that your potential employer needs to be able to get in touch with you. So when you put your resume together, double check your resume or job application to make sure that your email address, phone number, and your alternate phone number are all up to date. Some important things to remember is that your email address is active, and you should check it daily if you're expecting a job email. Check it daily, and if you can, set up a signature line with an appropriate closing, your signature, and your contact information. Be sure that on the resume that your phone number is listed, if you have a personal number, and that your voicemail is set up and appropriate. An example of this being my voicemail that I have on my phone, I keep it very simple and clear. I introduce myself. I say, like if someone calls me and I don't answer, my voicemail goes something like, "Hey, this is Nick with KYSPIN. Sorry I wasn't able to answer your phone. Leave a message or call me back at," and I would give them my phone number. And then I would also, in my voicemail, give them a alternate means of contact, such I would list my email. And then once you go through and check that, make sure that you check your voicemails. And if you feel like you need to on your resume, you can list an alternate phone number, maybe one of your parents, just in case someone needs to get in touch with you and they can't reach you. But it is important, if you do list an alternate phone number, to distinguish which phone number is yours. I had trouble a few years ago where I applied for a job and I had my phone number and I put my mother's phone number on the resume, and the employer couldn't distinguish which number was whose. So they kept calling my mother and kept asking her questions about me. And basically kind of just, they took that number and they didn't actually have my number at all. They didn't take my number from the resume. They kept calling my mother, and my mother had to keep asking me questions, and we had to keep going back and forth in a big circle, trying to negotiate with these employers. And that kind of went on for a while and got a bit frustrating for everyone involved. So make sure that if you do have multiple phone numbers or multiple contacts, that you distinguish which one is yours, is your primary one, and which ones are your backups. And again, going back to voicemails and emails, always check voicemails and emails daily if you're expecting to hear back about a job. Sometimes we all know technology isn't perfect. So you never know when you might get a voicemail or a message and your phone or computer might not notify you. So if you're expecting to get a call or an email, check daily, check regularly, so you don't miss anything. You definitely don't want to miss an employment opportunity because the employer couldn't reach you or tried to reach you and you had no idea.
Hey, Nick, what would be an appropriate email address?
It's a good point. So I know that when I was younger, back in like middle and high school, I had a quirky email address. It's very important that if you are, once you start going out into the job seeking field, to make sure that your email address, or you can even make just a new email address just for jobs, make sure it's something clean and simple. It can literally be just something like your first name, maybe the initial of your last name. Like an example for me, like I could do like nickc97@gmail.com. That's a really simple email. It has my name, first initial of my last name, and it has my birth year. That's something nice and simple. It's easy to remember, and it's not something that's really long or someone might have difficulty remembering, or something really crazy. Hey, next slide, please. And
I think
anyone...
we have, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Nick. I think we have some questions that have popped up in the chat box. If you could take a moment and maybe answer those.
Well, it looks like that Rhonda has handled our questions so far, but if anyone has any questions about anything so far, feel free to ask. I'll take a minute or two to wait for those to come in if anyone has anything.
Frank, I see that you've raised your hand. If there's any possible way for you to put your question in the chat box or the question and answer box, Nick would be more than happy to answer that question for you.
So that is a great question. We will actually be going into that a little later in the presentation. We will be talking about appropriate job interview dress code. Yeah, that's a great question. That is something that we will get to.
Take it away, Nick.
All right. So next part of here is dress for success. This part of the presentation will be going over proper dress etiquette. So part of feeling confident at an interview is feeling good about yourself. If you feel good about your appearance, you can give your confidence a big boost. Good grooming and hygiene isn't just for dogs. Don't forget about those day-to-day essentials like showering, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, and using deodorant. This might sound silly, but a lot of people need to be reminded of this. Try not to wear too much perfume or cologne, as sometimes people can be allergic, and wearing too much will make them remember you because of your smell, and not because of your skills or your ideas. Wear appropriate business clothes, be clean, and look neat. Have your hair brushed and or shaved or trimmed. When in doubt, dress up a little bit. Don't ever be afraid to like maybe slap on a tie or something like that, or add a little bit of extra to whatever you're wearing, just to make it kind of look a little more, little fancier. I always try to go through the rule of the less skin showing, usually the better. Take that as you will. And the next slide. Things to wear is button-up shirts, blouses, dress pants or khakis, and dress shoes. Try to avoid wearing things like short skirts, torn up jeans or shorts, low-cut shirts, or anything that's too revealing. Avoid stained or wrinkled clothes, and especially avoid wearing flip-flops or sandals or anything like that. Try to avoid any like open-toed shoes unless it's appropriate for the job. Next slide. So when the workplace or the job is less formal, the dress code may be a bit more relaxed. If you're not sure what you should wear, it's always a fine idea to check with the person scheduling the interview. However, it's still important not to dress bad. So business casual, what that is that business casual is you don't have to wear a suit or anything like that. Business casual basically just means, nice pants, no sneakers, and it's basically no apparel that you would wear at the gym, things that you would wear outside of the gym or a bit fancier. Both men and women can consider wearing tailored khakis or a nice polo shirt or button down and a pair of sensible shoes. Also, I like to say here with business casual. So usually when it comes to dressing for job interviews, I do get asked about jeans. I say that I feel like jeans are usually fine. I always say that if you are going to wear jeans, make sure you don't have any holes in them. And I say that the darker the color of the jeans, the better. The better that they'll look with everything. And now, what should you wear when there's not a dress code? If you're not sure what to wear, if there's no real dress code, try to keep it professional and somewhat towards business casual. So even if there isn't a particular dress code for the interview, I always try to put on a nice polo shirt and like a nice pair of jeans and shoes. And that's usually what I go with if there's no particular dress code for the interview. And next slide, please. Dress for success. So knowing what you want to wear, take some time to prepare your interview outfit to be sure you're ready to make the best impression. Get some new threads. Well in advance of your interview, make sure you have appropriate interview attire and everything fits correctly. Get that outfit ready. Get your clothes ready the night before so you don't have to spend time getting them ready the day of the interview. And make sure to polish or clean your shoes the night before. Next slide. So as we move on from the dressing part of the presentation, do we have any other questions?
Are there
not
any,
look-
Nick, are there
Yes.
any resources out there for people that may not be able to afford to go out and buy a brand new set of clothes for interviews?
Good point. Yes, there's actually a lot of like dress shops and charities and things like that give out that are in a lot of local areas. You can always look online and look for those. There's a lot of organizations and things that give out free like interview clothes that you can borrow for interviews and whatnot if you don't have anything to wear. Whether you just don't have anything or you can't afford anything, there's a lot of charities and community projects that will lend you interview clothes. But all right, doesn't look like we have any questions.
One just popped up.
Oh,
Mary says our youth service center in the high school can assist with clothing and hygiene items. So that's a great point too, reaching out to your the resource office in the high school setting to help.
yeah, that is a good point. I know that the school I went to had a resource office. A lot of schools have resource offices. Usually they have all sorts of different things. Like they'll have like snacks and things for if you're like just running in late to school and haven't had time to eat or anything. They'll have different, like they can have snacks, and then they can give you resources for like school, like paper, pencils, and then they can also have clothes and things that they can lend you for interviews. They're great great place if you ever need anything. They usually have it, and they can assist you any way that they can. And they're prepared for a whole lot of different situations. But yeah, what are employers looking for? Professionalism isn't one thing. It's a combination of qualities. A professional employee arrives on time for work, manages time effectively, takes responsibility for their own behavior, and works effectively with others. Has a high quality work standard, has honesty and integrity, looks clean and neat, and dresses appropriately for the job, communicates effectively and appropriately for the workplace. Next slide. Professionalism. Throughout our working lives, most of us will have many different jobs, each requiring a different level or set of skills. No matter the industry, from customer service to an office job to construction and the trades, all of these jobs have one thing in common. In order to succeed and move ahead, you need to demonstrate professionalism. Professionalism doesn't mean wearing a suit or carrying a briefcase. Rather, it means conducting oneself with responsibility, integrity, accountability, and excellence. It means communicating effectively and appropriately and always finding a way to be productive. Employers value employees who carry out their duties in a professional manner. Next slide. Communication. Why is it so important? So communication is a really big thing. When I went to college for communication. So I can tell you all about how in communication, one of the most important skills you can have, regardless if it's for jobs or not. Communication is how we give and receive information. It's the way that we share ideas and opinions with those around us. It's how we interact and build relationships. It's all about being able to talk and deliver information to someone else. And then it's also your ability to listen and take in information and then ingrain that and utilize that yourself. Next slide. To an employer, good communication skills are essential. Good communication skills consistently rank at the top of the list for potential employees. Communication skills are ranked first among a job candidates must have skills and qualities, according to a 2010 survey conducted by the National Association of Colleges and Employers. Next slide. During a job interview, employers are most impressed by a candidate who can answer questions with more than one-word answers. What I mean by this is that if a employer asks you something during an interview, they take notice if you answer with maybe like I have a rule in interviews that anytime I get asked a question, I always answer with at least a sentence or two. I don't say like yeah or yes or no or things like that. I always try, like, if they ask me like, well, do you do anything fun? Instead of saying yes, I'll say like, oh yeah, well, I like to walk my dog and I like to play games and things like that. Those are things I like doing for fun. They take notice of that better. They like longer answers. Also, they're impressed by people who demonstrate that they're listening and share the information and ideas, or ask questions for clarification and or follow-up. This goes back to just communication. If you display that you're paying attention and you communicate, and if the interview kind of turns into a bit of a discussion, they'll note that, and it kind of helps make you stand out a bit more, because it kind of turns, instead of it being kind of a question and answer, it turns into a conversation, and they might remember that and take more of notice of you. If you ask questions and it shows that you're actually listening to what they're talking about and what they're asking you, it shows you're paying attention, and they appreciate that. And remember that nonverbal communication is also critical in an interview. Employers expect good eye contact, good posture, and active listening. So just keep that in mind. I know I'm not the best at having good eye contact or some of these things myself, but it's always important to try and do your best. Next slide. The interview is your chance to show how well you'll interact with the supervisors, the coworkers, customers, and how you will resolve conflicts when they arise. Next slide. Practice, practice, practice. There's no way to know exactly what our hiring manager is going to ask, but there are some common questions to use as practice. Next slide. Why should we hire you for this position? What makes you a good fit for our company? What are your strengths? What is your biggest weakness? Tell me about a time that you use leadership skills in a situation. Tell me about a time that you handled a conflict. When it comes to questions and things, I would always, when I knew a job interview was coming up, I would always go and like grab my mom or grab a friend, and I would set up mock interviews. I would get them my resume and have them just answer me questions. And and we would always look up and see like what common interview questions were. So they would go and ask me questions, and I would answer as best as I can, and then they would give me feedback, give me good practice for upcoming interviews. And it also helped me feel a lot more prepared. If I knew the answers to some of these more common questions, it helped me feel a bit more prepared going into the interview instead of being caught off guard when they asked me something like, oh, what kind of leadership skills you have? Well, that's something that I prepared for, so I knew what my answer would be. Or asking me like if I thought I'd be a good fit or anything like that, I'd be prepared. Next slide. Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm can mean a difference in not just getting a job, but also succeeding in a job and even advancing in your career. A positive and enthusiastic attitude is a critical component of workplace success. Next slide. When employers look at prospective candidates, they not only look for skills, experience, and training, they look for those who demonstrate enthusiasm. Employers want to hire someone they believe will complete assigned tasks in an upbeat and cooperative manner. Next slide. Maintain a positive attitude. Managers sometimes worry that someone without a positive attitude will not get along with supervisors and coworkers, treat customers disrespectfully, or not put much effort into their work. Employees who are viewed as enthusiastic are known to provide good customer service, resolve interpersonal conflict effectively, and work productively with others. So this last thing here is, just keep that in mind, that if you have a positive attitude and have a good kind of aura or energy about you, employers will notice that, and that will set you up to when you do get into the job. If you're outgoing and are very easy to interact with and very easygoing, it can help you progress even farther in that workplace if that is something that you're interested in. So I do know at this point, this is the end of the presentation part of this part of the presentation. I am going to hand it back over to Amber for one last video, but I do want to say that I appreciate all of you for signing up and taking the time to listen to what we had prepared for today. And I hope you all have a nice day and a good week. But now I'm going to hand it back over to Amber. And then after our video, I'll take a quick moment to look and see if we have any more questions.
Yes, please hang around until following the video because we have a few more things we'd like to say at the end of the presentation.
Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm an employment specialist. And I happen to have a disability. Preparing for an interview is hard work and starts before you even apply. But I can help. Let's start from the beginning. Social media. What does your social media
the video's not on the screen, so if we could stop it just a second. So don't we love transition and tech issues? So maybe because I was associated with it today. So we have the PowerPoint is showing. We'll try to end sharing and we'll try to reshare the video here just a moment.
Do you have it now?
Okay. Yes, and if you'll just start it back from the beginning, if you don't mind, because we were hearing it, but we weren't able to see it. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm an employment specialist. And I happen to have a disability. Preparing for an interview is hard work and starts before you even apply. But I can help. Let's start from the beginning. Social media. What does your social media say about you? Does it line up with the atmosphere and character of the company? Why are you the best fit for this job? What about this company excites you? Resume. Every job seeker needs a resume. Be creative when writing your resume. Paid employment is not the only example of work experience. Use volunteer experience to build work skills. Getting ready for the interview. Dress appropriately. Take a shower. Brush your teeth and hair. Dress like a business professional. Refresh soft skills. Employers are looking for reliability, but also professionalism, honesty, good communication skills, a good attitude, being on time, and willingness to learn new things. Now, go get them.
So we want to thank you all for coming to our first day of the mini conference in preparing for employment. As you can see on the screen here, there is a QR code. You can use your cell phones to take you straight to our evaluation. There's also the evaluation link in the chat box, along with the resources from today's conference. At Kentucky Spin, we do value everything our families say to us, good, bad, or indifferent. We want to know how you felt about this presentation, things that you loved, you didn't so much love, or things that you think we could change. Upon completion of the evaluation, it will generate a certificate for coming today. This is also a great thing to turn in with a resume showing that, for your first potential employer, that you have went through some trainings and you are prepared to get into the work field. So I encourage, if nothing else, definitely do the evaluation to get that and keep a hold of it. I'm going to check the chat box real quick to see if we have any questions. And if we don't, once again, thank you so much for spending an hour of your time with us. We appreciate all of you, and we hope to see you tomorrow at 9:30. And there are no new questions. So once again, we hope to see you tomorrow at 9:30 for the second day of preparing for employment.